by law to charge the levy to do that on their own um, system.
Right.
So they did that in May and June. Then in July, we took over with a system we call Elmas.
Okay.
And we connected digitally to all these institutions. So from that time, the system, when they are making any transaction, within microseconds, the system gives them a feedback whether they are supposed to charge the levy or not.
Oh, okay.
And as the journey was going on, a lot of people were apprehensive. So prior to we going live, there were some transaction volumes going down, but it's picked up to date.
Oh, I see.
Even though we do have sometimes intermittent challenges with customers being charged when they are not supposed to be charged. That seems to be one of the major issues mostly that we grapple with here.
Okay, so why were the transactions going down rather when you started? Was it because people were now backing out of it or what?
So the down was happened before the 1st May.
Okay.
So I think it was in April of 2022. People felt that it was going to affect a number of transactions. Some even felt that it would affect your balances. But then when we started and they realized that it wasn't going to do that, it started picking up.
Okay.
And then also initially, a lot of exemptions were not within the scope of the first statement that came in the budget statement. But then when the bill came out, it had given a number of exemptions so that it would mitigate the effect on people.
I think at some point, one of the things that was going around is the fact that people were now switching to cash transactions to avoid paying the e-levy. Was that a thing that you noticed?
We didn't notice cash transaction. We rather noticed people bypassing the transfer method where you have to put the money on your wallet and transfer from your own wallet. They bypass by going to an agent and asking the agent to do the transaction on their behalf so that they are messing in the transaction. So I walk to an agent, I want to transfer to somebody in Kumasi, and then I give the money to the agent and then he transfers. So me, the one who is doing the transaction, I'm lost within the transaction. That seemed to be the number one way people used to evade the levy.
So what transactions are affected by the e-levy exactly?
The law prescribes that anytime you are doing a transaction within the same network, it is affected. And then also network of another provider, that's mobile money network, it is also affected. Then also from a mobile money platform to a banking platform and vice versa is also affected. Then finally, an individual who is doing banking transaction using any of the digital app is also affected. So specifically, it is based on the type of transaction that you embarked on that the levy affects.
Right. And earlier you mentioned some exemptions as well. Are there categories of people or entities exempt from the e-levy payment?
So the law did not exempt people or entity or any organization. It rather exempted specific type of transactions. So one would be the daily limits. So for mobile money, there is a daily limit of 100 Ghana cedis. And then for banking transaction, there is a daily limit of 20,000. Those are exempted from the levy. Then when you're sending money across any platform, and the sending account and the receiving account belong to the same person, that is also exempted from the levy. When you are paying taxes, levies and fees to the government, it is also exempted. When you are doing check transactions, it is exempted. When you are doing what we call specified merchant payments, that is making payment to someone who embarks on commercial activity, but the person is registered with a GRA, for income tax and VAT, that is also exempted. And then when you transfer money within the mobile money eco space, that is from agent to agent, agent to a principal, agent to a master agent, that is also exempted. So these are the exempted transactions on the e-levy.
Okay, so recently the GRA had the cause to issue a press release on some challenges associated with the e-levy. Explain to us what these challenges are exactly.
So on the 14th of March this year, we had a nationwide internet blackout. Now, the way the platform had been built, it was built with the mind that when you are not reaching the service, it shouldn't impact on the operation of the service, especially the USSD or the shortcode service. It happens within microseconds. So the architecture of the system is that anytime you attempt at connecting to our platform and it fails, do not stop your operations. Rather, charge the customer irrespective of whether the transaction is exempt or not, and then come back and retry. If you are successful in connecting, do the reconciliation same day, reverse the earlier transaction, refund the money to the customer, and then close the transaction. So that is the nature of the architecture of the platform. But then when we had nationwide internet blackout and a number of institutions were not reaching our platform, it charged every transaction, including even payment for taxes, payment for ECG bills, payment for water. They were all being charged when we had this internet disruption. So we have to come out and allay the fears of the public that those monies that were charged wrongfully would be refunded to them once the reconciliation is done.
So have these challenges been resolved? And what's the way forward?
So we can all attest to the fact that the internet blackout has stopped, but some of the challenges that happened, there are a few of them that still persist that we working with our partners to resolve.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the general public should not fear any wrongful transactions, or we might encounter them.
We don't expect to encounter them going forward, but what our expectation is that those that were charged from 14th to date, they should get their refund back once the reconciliations are completed. Yeah.
Okay. Are these the only challenges that we're seeing now with the implementation of the e-levy?
We've also had challenges with the partners, or what we call the charging entities. They are required by law to comply with our directives fully. Unfortunately, dealing with them, we've realized that they have not. One major challenge is the fact that for every account that you onboard on your platform, you are required to attach the Ghana card for individuals and the TIN for corporate institutions. Unfortunately, most of these partners are not complying with that directive. And as a result, customers are being charged the e-levy when they are not supposed to be charged, just because the partners have not updated the Ghana card information. For banks, what we realize is that they do the update on the core banking app, but then our app or our platform, which is a background platform, they fail to go and do same. So when a customer walks to the banking hall, they check the banking app and they will tell you your Ghana card has been updated. But then they don't update the e-levy platform. And then the customers start incurring the charges when they are not supposed to. So that's also another major challenge we are facing.
And how are you dealing with that? Are the banks going to be penalized for this? What's the
currently the law that requires banks or financial institutions to have taxpayer identification number has punitive measures within it already. So what we are doing is that periodically we do what we call assessment, where we pull the data, we go as back as we can, and then we find all the infractions they have incurred on the platform, and then we will send them demand notice and then surcharge them, and then we impose penalty and interest. So we've not done that across the ecosystem. We've done it on selected partners, but then we are going to do it across so that any partner who is still non-compliant, we will surcharge them.
Would you say that e-levy is meeting its revenue targets?
So the original revenue target in 2022 was revised downwards from the 6.9 billion. That target came when the budget statement was presented to Parliament. But then when the bill came out, we realized that it included a number of exemptions which were not part of the earlier projection. So to account for the exemptions, the target was revised downwards, way downwards. And from 2022, we've met the new target that took into consideration the exemptions.
The exemptions. How much revenue has government made so far from the e-levy?
So we would isolate it in this way. In 2022, on the revised target, we raised 643 million from May 1st May 2022 to 31st December, we were able to raise 643 million Ghana cedis.
And the target was 6.9 billion?
And the target was 6 point something million.
Million.
Because the original one in billion was revised way downwards.
Okay.
Yeah. Then in 2023, that's just last year, we raised 1.19 billion Ghana cedis for the month 1st January to 31st December 2023.
Right.
That is 1.19 billion against a target of around 1.1. So we seem to have even gone a little bit beyond the target for 2023.
What made the earlier projections so, for want of a better word, wild?
I would say the exemptions.
Okay.
Because when the statement was presented, it didn't factor in the level of exemption that the bill was going to grant. So, Bank of Ghana has been reporting the value of the mobile money ecosystem, and it's in trillions. So if you don't factor the exemption, you just apply 1.5% on the total value of the ecosystem.
Right.
And that is in excess of billions.
Yeah. Okay. Is there something that the GRA would want the public to know in helping your work, especially with mobilization of funds through the e-levy?
What I want to tell the public, especially those who are experiencing wrongful charges, that they should be rest assured. So far as they have updated their Ghana card with the banks, we will do everything possible for them to get their money back. And rather, we will surcharge the institutions that have not complied with the law. So when you are affected with wrongful charge, the procedure is this. First, make a complaint to the institution that deducted the money. So if it is at the wallet level, you complain to the telco. You make a formal complaint that you've been deducted wrongly. If it's at the bank, you make same. If these institutions are not heeding to your complaint, then you can make a similar complaint to the GRA on our email elevysupport@gra.gov.gh. You can make an email complaint that you've reported first to where the deduction was made, but you are not getting any headway. So you are making a complaint. Then you provide us all the details so that we can follow it up for you. You can also make a call to our toll-free line 0800-900-110. That is our toll-free line that you can also make a complaint if you have been deducted wrongly.
Okay.
And then also for the charging entities, we are pleading with them that they should take the steps to update all their customers' Ghana card number on the e-levy platform before we send out compliance and punitive charges to them, because we are going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I was thinking about the bit about the banks, where they update the banking platform, but not your platform, but it's actually the customer who bears the brunt of it. How can we make that happen? I mean, how can we also maybe query or find out whether maybe the bank has done what it's supposed to do with the GRA, so we don't get charged wrongfully?
So the platform design has been done to aid customers. So we've written to all the partners that once it is a digital platform, if you are performing a transaction, they should display to you the charges payable before you confirm. So you realize that on the USSD, if you dial, you are moving funds from your bank to your wallet or your wallet to your bank, it displays how much charge the telco will take, and also any taxable amount is displayed. So once you see a tax amount being displayed and it's not zero, this is confirmation that the bank or one of the parties have not updated your records. You can stop the transaction and make a complaint so that your details are updated. If they are insisting your details have been updated and you are still seeing the tax not being zero, then you have to contact GRA on the
I need you to take that again for those who are listening, because I know some people have complained about how they're transferring money from the bank account to the Momo and and they're charged and all of those things. So please repeat that part for us so that we're clear on it.
The platform is like that. It gives information to the customer whilst you are performing any transaction. So let's start with the USSD, that is the short code.
Yeah.
When you are about to transfer, it will ask you for the number you are transferring to. It will ask you for the amount you are transferring to. It will then ask you for your PIN and reference. Before you confirm finally, it will display to you the amount you are sending and to whom you are sending it to.
Right.
It would also tell you the charges the telco will take from you.
Yes.
It would then also tell you the tax that will be deducted.
Yeah.
If the tax is not zero, when you expect it to be zero, that is a confirmation that either your details have not been well updated or there is a challenge with the platform.
Okay.
At that point, you can stop going ahead with the transaction and lodge a complaint. And as I've said, if your complaint is not being heeded to, then you can come to the GRA. So that is on the USSD side. On the banking side, it will be on the banking app. They are also supposed to display the tax payable. If the tax payable is not zero, when you expect it to be zero, that is indicative that there is a challenge, and then you can make the complaint and not proceed with the transaction.
Okay. Now, share with us finally the contact numbers again and the email address for those who want to make such reports or queries.
So for the toll-free number, it is 0800 900 110. That's our toll-free line.
Okay.
And then for the email, it is e-levy support, one word, or in lower cases, at gra.gov.gh.
All right. Well, this is very good information, and I'm glad you came by today. Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac Kobnamwakon, who's the Chief Revenue Officer, E-Levy Technical Committee, and we've been talking about the E-Levy. Very important part of our development process, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Amwakon.
Thank you too.
Yeah, there you go. Isaac Kobnamwakon, Chief Revenue Officer.